All right, hello, party people. Today's Terra Nova Tuesday is going to be a bit briefer than usual. I'm not going to be covering a mystery or anything today. We're going to be talking about the updates on the fires here in Newfoundland. The part of the island I live in has been fortunate enough to have fairly significant rainfall the last 24, 36 hours, so it's not too bad here in terms of fire risk. However, in the St. John's and Avalon area, I think it might still be pretty bad. And we'll have a look at what we've got for updates now. So, as of 5 days ago, the 14th, a man has been charged with arson in wake of several downtown fires. Now, this is within the St. John's metro area. Police have charged a man with setting several fires in downtown St. John's earlier this week. 20-year-old Caleb Boland Pelkey made a brief appearance in provincial court today and remains in custody pending a bail hearing on Tuesday, which would have been today. He faces 3 charges of arson with the disregard of human life, each carrying a fine of $50,000. Fire department was forced to respond several areas between 10:30 p.m. Tuesday night, 12:30 a.m. Wednesday morning. In other words, within 3 hours. The RNC, that's the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary, for those of you not familiar, says the fires were intentionally set within several blocks of each other between La Marchant Road and New Gower Street. No one was injured and no buildings were damaged, thanks in large part to the quick response of firefighters from the nearby Central Fire Station. Good job, lads. Police say the investigation is ongoing in consultation with resource enforcement officers with the Department of Fisheries, Forestry, and Agriculture. What that means is they're looking at this kid and wondering, did he set the fires out in Kingston and that area? I don't know. Officials are reminding everyone that a fire ban remains in effect across the province and open fires not permitted. To report a fire, call 911. $5,000 reward is available to anyone who offers information that leads to the ID and arrest of those responsible for starting a wildfire. So that's from VOCM. From Global, we have the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary has charged a 20-year-old man for allegedly intentionally setting brush fires in St. John's while a fire ban is in place. Now, this is a different, I believe, a different person. No, this is still talking about Pelkey, or Boland Pelkey. On Tuesday, the St. John's Regional Fire Department responded to a number of brush fires in downtown St. John's within blocks of one another. No injuries or structural damage were reported. Suspect is set to appear in a Newfoundland court on Thursday to face charges of arson with the disregard of human life. Now they're saying Thursday. VOCM said Tuesday, so hard to know. Mark Lawler, Newfoundland and Labrador's provincial fire duty officer, says the largest of the province's out-of-control wildfires continues to gain ground, helped by dry, windy conditions. Lawler says the fire near the coastal town of no thanks, I don't wish to get notifications from you. Lawler says the fire near the coastal town of Kingston on the Avalon Peninsula has expanded to about 52 square kilometers. He says it remains unclear how many homes or cabins in the area have been destroyed by the fire. Part of the reason it will be unclear how many cabins were destroyed is because sometimes people just build cabins and don't tell anybody they're there. Thousands of people in Newfoundland and Labrador's capital and elsewhere in the province are under evacuation alerts as wildfires continue to threaten communities. About 5,400 residents in 2 areas of St. John's were told on Tuesday to be ready to leave their homes at a moment's notice. They joined roughly 15,000 others in parts of the nearby communities of Paradise and Conception Bay South, who were placed under evacuation alerts a day earlier. So there's that. And then now from today, we have a update from VOCM. Over 200 structures lost in fire on the Conception Bay North Shore. Officials are getting a better handle on the number of homes and other metered structures lost as a result of the wildfire on the Conception Bay North Shore. The fire remains out of control and covers close to 11,000 hectares. It has not grown, but improved conditions have allowed officials to get a better view of the size of the fire. Most of the fire's activity is on the western and southwestern flanks, but Premier John Hogan says it is posing no threat to Victoria or other communities on the Trinity Bay side of the peninsula, which is good because that's a fairly populous area. While weather conditions have improved, officials say they're still not in a place to lift any evacuation alerts or orders. The Premier says 203 structures are gone, and depending on further assessments, that number could rise again. He broke the numbers down in this morning's wildfire update. Numbers lost to date: Kingston has lost 12, Small Point, Broad Cove, Blackhead, Adams Cove 33, Western Bay 86, Ogre Pit Cove 59, Northern Bay 13. In the case of Western Bay and Overpick Cove, I can't imagine these were particularly large communities. That may be the bulk of the community itself is gone. Um, if anyone from those communities is watching and you'd like to offer any sort of comment, by all means, feel free to get in touch. The means and ways to do that are below, and I'll absolutely feature your comments on next Terra Nova Tuesday, if not sooner. Yeah, whether or not this Caleb Boland Pelkey is actually guilty, it's pretty clear that, I mean, from my own personal opinion, I don't think anyone believes this is climate change caused. Generally, this is some form of human activity, whether it's an unattended fire, which I kind of doubt. Newfoundlanders aren't generally as stupid as the mainland likes to make us out to be. Um, even our young people. Uh, whether it was something as simple as a negligently disposed of cigarette, which also I doubt. I'm sorry, people who smoke, like me, we're aware we're holding a fire. It's not like we treat it with wanton disrespect or negligence. Um, I've heard other theories. Oh, it could be a water bottle or a piece of glass or any. No, I'm, I'm, I find that extremely difficult to believe. It could be lightning strikes. Again, I find that extremely difficult to believe. Uh, to be honest, with all the things we've seen from various parts of the world, where the narrative that the people in power would like to push is, oh, this is climate change, give us more money in your taxes. Uh, yeah, that narrative seems to get pretty roundly defeated when there are arson arrests made. Just saying. And I honestly have to say that I suspected arson the entire time as well, partly because of the size of the fire and how quickly it grew. In any case, if it turns out that this young fella isn't responsible for this, good. If it turns out he was only lighting fires in the St. John's area, good. That said, give him whatever punishment is appropriate to the maximum extent possible. Make it clear putting other people's lives in danger deserves full on punishment. And if all this kid is facing is a fine, maybe you really need to reconsider the arson side of things, Mr. Hogan. Considering defying a fire ban carries jail time, and if all this kid is facing is a fine, that's a different story. However, I believe I may have that slightly incorrect. I believe it's refusal to pay the fine that may result in jail time, which, I'm sorry, I think that's egregiously wrong. Throwing someone in debtor's prison doesn't actually make the problem better. It simply causes us to have to pay to keep them alive longer. In any case, folks, I think that's pretty much it for me. Uh, I realize this is a fairly short one. I'm not feeling my best today, so in fact, the light is actually aggravating my migraine. So, uh, sorry, a little scattered. Um, yeah, come on back tomorrow. I'll be doing the next few chapters of the James Bond novel Casino Royale. I like the main in Canada, baby. Other than that, I hope you're doing well. I hope you continue to do well. And as always, rise and rise again until the lambs become lions. Bye bye.
Hello, party people. So, you've probably just finished watching one of my videos, and I appreciate your time. That said, if you're watching on YouTube, because they've changed the way they evaluate their views, I need to ask a favor. You need to commit some form of engagement in order for me to have it count as a view, because for some reason YouTube no longer thinks watching something counts as a view. They need some form of engagement to prove you actually watched it. So, like, comment, follow, share, subscribe. Any of those things would be appreciated. Other than that, if you want to support me, and this would help me with endeavors across all the platforms I do my content creation on, you can look at Ko-Fi, which is right there in the ticker right at the moment, Or you can go over to my Redbubble and pick up some merchandise there. The designs that have been flashing on screen for a while are examples of the designs that I have. You can pick these up on a variety of different products, and yeah, I'll probably end up leaving them up. Though, from time to time, I will put up something that will be time limited. Some of the designs, the Walrus King especially, for example, I intend to leave up all the time because I just love that, and my Ardent Plays logo is for my other Rumble channel. Other than that, I hope you're doing well. I hope you continue to do well. And as always, rise and rise again until lands become lions. Bye-bye.